Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and I'm going to be walking you through problem 23 in our homework assignment this week. This particular problem is dealing with closing entries. Before we go into the problem, I'm going to briefly explain this process. So at the end of every accounting period, companies have to transfer the balances from their temporary accounts into a permanent account, which would be the stockholders' equity account or retained earnings. So once we're done closing the entries of these temporary accounts, they will have a zero balance. We close out the temporary revenue and expense accounts by moving the balances to another temporary account that is called the income summary account. And now we have a balance in the income summary account, and we then need to close out this account by moving the balance in this account to our permanent account, retained earnings. We also close out the temporary account dividends, and this one is closed out by also moving the balance to retained earnings. Okay, so we're going to go into, let's see if I can figure out how to move this. Okay. We're going to go into the homework problem in Wiley. Okay, that's going to be obnoxious. Put that over here. Okay, so we start out by closing out the revenue accounts. So the first one, we see we have two of them here, service revenue and rent revenue. Oh, and it looks like I forgot to erase these. Okay, so the service revenue is $34,740. Now remember, this is after our adjustments that we did. So we need to make sure that this side is the before adjustments and this side is the after adjustments. We need to make sure we pull the numbers from the after adjustment side of this trial balance sheet. Okay, so the service revenue is $34,740, and we need to decide if we're going to put it on debit or credit. Revenue's normal balance would be the credit side, so if we want to bring it down to zero, then we need to put it on the debit side. Okay, and then the rent revenue is $14,560. So we'll plug that in there. Okay, now we're gonna move both of those balances over to the income summary account, and we do that by crediting that account the sum of these two. So the sum is $49,300. Okay, so next we're going to close the expense accounts. Woo! Okay, and we do that so the first one is salaries and wages expense, and that one's going to be $17,310. And then the rent expense is $21,783. Next we have the supplies expense, which is $1,560. The insurance expense, which is $1,390. And the depreciation is, whoops. Let's see, 1,390. Okay, sorry, 1,200. Okay. And we're going to, in order to get this, all of the expense accounts to zero, we need to credit them and then debit the income summary account in the amount of all of these numbers added together. So that's $43,243. All right, so we've closed the revenue accounts and the expense accounts and moved them to the income summary account. So now, since that's also a temporary account, we need to close it as well and move the balance from income summary to retained earnings. So to do that, we need to find the balance from this account. Now we credited the income summary $49,300 from the revenue, and we debited $43,243 from the expense account. So we need to find the difference between those numbers to find the current balance. Okay, so the current balance is $6,057. And so the retained earnings, we're going to move the balance over there by crediting retained earnings. And now the income summary account is closed. Okay, so now we need to close the dividends account. Let's see, how much was dividends? That was $2,600. So the normal balance for dividends is debit. So if we want to bring it down to zero, we're going to credit it, the $2,600. And then debit retained earnings for the same amount. Close out dividends. Okay. Let's see if we're right. And that is all correct. All right, well, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to help as best I can.